Hi, so it's week 3, and I wanted to start by telling you that I really enjoyed seeing all of your photos, showing where you're from and where you've been on the first discussion. There were tons of great photos of unique ecosystems, like Laura's photo of prairie and red deer, or Lorinda's photo of marine iguanas on the Galapagos coast. There were also great photos illustrating landscapes that have been altered by human impacts. I also enjoyed reading your responses to the quiz questions. It was really interesting to see a response to this question: do you think all ecosystems are equally valuable? The split ended up being about 50-50. Half of you said something like, yes, they're all equally valuable because everything on the earth is interconnected. And then the other half said something like, no, some ecosystems are more valuable than others. Some of you also added that it depends on what perspective we're taking. And I think that's a really excellent point. Looking at your photos and the tremendous biodiversity in all of the different places you guys have been reminded me of a couple of examples I wanted to tell you about that illustrate some of the concepts in this week's readings on evolution and biodiversity. The first one is Guam. It's an island in the South Pacific, and people have lived there for about 4,000 years, but there's never been any snakes. That is until around the time of World War II, when brown tree snakes hitchhiked their way to Guam from other islands in the area, probably on US military vehicles. Now, these snakes are harmless to humans, but they're a major predator of birds. And Guam had 2 endemic bird species, the Guam flycatcher and the Guam rail, that were easy prey. And they were easy for the snakes to catch because these birds had evolved in the total absence of snakes. So, as snakes started spreading throughout the island, the flycatchers and rails declined, and today, I'm sad to say that the flycatcher is extinct and the rail exists only in captivity. Because these birds were important parts of the food web on Guam, there have been other effects as well, like a massive increase in spider populations because there are no longer as many birds around to eat the spiders. And so today, the forests on Guam are dramatically different and, frankly, kind of creepy. They're totally silent because there are no birds and they're full of cobwebs and snakes. Okay, the next example I want to tell you about is Australia. In 1930s, people deliberately introduced cane toads to Australia. Now, cane toads are a species from South America, and it seemed like a great idea. Cane toads eat beetles that are major pests on crops. And people had introduced them before in other places, and the toads had done a great job of controlling the beetle populations. But nobody expected what would happen in Australia. The cane toad populations took off, growing rapidly, and they started marching across the continent. So today, 70 years after they were initially introduced, you can find cane toads almost everywhere in northern Australia. And like the snakes on Guam, they're causing changes in the ecosystems in Australia. And the reason is that, like all toads, cane toads have toxins in their skin. Now, Australia has never had any toad species before, so the predators there didn't evolve with toads around. They'll eat toads and they'll die from them because they haven't evolved their own defenses against the toad toxins. So everywhere the toads invade, Australian lizards and snakes that try to eat them suffer massive casualties. Now, the cane toads haven't actually caused anything to go extinct, but they have caused evolution. For instance, the red-bellied black snake is a species that lives in eastern Australia. And the ones that live up in the northern parts of the continent where cane toads are around have evolved the ability to tolerate cane toad toxins, all in the last 70 years. Even more incredibly, the toads themselves are also evolving. Researchers have shown that the toads at the invasion front have longer legs, better endurance, and can move farther in a shorter amount of time compared to the ancestral toads where the invasion started. Okay, so the point of telling you about these examples was that I wanted to show you that the popular idea of evolution as a slow march towards a predictable endpoint is wrong. Evolution can be fast and it can be unpredictable. Alright, that's all for today, except that I just want to remind you that discussion number 2 and quiz number 3 are both due this Sunday, May 26th. Good luck, and I'll talk to you guys later.